Well, third graders, do we have a surprise for you? William Penn himself is here to tell you about the founding of Pennsylvania. I'm super excited because I grew up in Pennsylvania and all of my family are from Pennsylvania. My great-grandmother, Laura Hoops, was a Quaker whose family was in the Philadelphia area for over 300 years. So without further ado, William Penn.
My name is William Penn and I'm 9 years old, and it is the year 1654, and England just recovered from a bloody civil war. My father works in the English Navy and is a brave man who fought bravely. But I was too young to remember much of the war. When I was 3, I lived in London but caught smallpox, so we moved to Ireland, where my father owned land from the English Navy. I am bald because of smallpox and I wear a wig, but don't tell anyone. Do you study as much as I do? I am now studying at the Chigwell School in Essex. It's like mathematics, Latin, French, and religion. So it was nice talking to you. Bye.
Hello there, third graders at Seven Oaks. Thank you for inviting me to speak with you today. Let's see here. Oh, yes, it is the year 1700, and I have just returned to Pennsylvania. After spending 18 years back in London, boy, it has changed dramatically in these 18 years I was away. Well, let's see. Yes, I was asked to tell you a little bit about the founding of Pennsylvania. I suppose I must start with my conversion to the Quaker religion. Do you know what the Quakers believed? The Quakers believe that we do not need a priest or a minister because there is a bit of the divine in our own human souls. So we can pray straight to Jesus. Now, if that inner light starts warming up, well, that's how we got the name Quakers. We believe that God is love, and as we all have some divine within us, we are all equal. Therefore, women are equal participants in our meetings, which is what we call a religious service. Here is something interesting. What is your teacher's name? Mrs. Helton? Well, I would never call her that. I would call her by her first name, because Quakers never talk to people using titles. It's the Quakers who use the terms thee and thou, because Quakers do not talk to people using titles. Does that sound formal to you? Did you know thee and thou are actually the informal way of saying you? I guess you have not had Latin yet, but you will soon. I started supporting the Quakers, and I eventually ended up in the London Tower for almost a year as a prisoner. But good was yet to come of it. Sadly, my father died. I ended up inheriting all of the Penlands. And the king owed me, well, my father, a lot of money from the war. Then I came up with an idea, and I approached King Charles II. You can imagine that the King of England did not like it when I called him thee instead of your highness. But he did like my idea. This is what I said to the king. Thee owes me a lot of money. Thee also dislikes the Quakers. Thee owns a large tract of land in the New World. What if thou gives me the large tract of wooded land which sits above Maryland and inside New Jersey? I am not even asking for oceanfront property, just that inside land. Thee will then owe me no money, and thee will get rid of many Quakers. What dost thou think? And the king gave me the land. I became the world's largest private, non-royal landowner with over 45,000 square miles. The land became known as Pennsylvania. Silva is the Latin word for woods, and so the word means Penn's Woods in honor of my father. Now, The values of the Quakers are peace, equality, and freedom of conscience. And so I set up my lands to exude those values. The first step in doing this was to make peace with the Indians. I did not want to kick them off their lands. Instead, I bought the land from them, and we made a peace treaty. For a very long time, we had peace with the Indians, while the other colonies had constant fear and war. I started the city of Philadelphia, which comes from the Greek and means city of brotherly love. Have you heard of this city? Pennsylvania is completely tolerant of all religions, and the Quaker schools were open to all who arrived. Oh, I have also been to Germany, as well as many Germans, like the Mennonites and the Lutherans, are moving here to live among us. We get along splendidly well with them, and I suspect Pennsylvania will grow rapidly. Well, it is time for me to get back to my work. I hope you will come visit Pennsylvania sometime, children.
Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed your visit from William Penn. He really was a visionary. The values of the Quakers, including peace and equality and freedom of religion, really took hold in America. Well, we're going to end with something fun, the Quaker foodways. The Quakers are not remembered for their scrumptious food. In fact, they boiled pretty much everything. Their food represented their simple lives. So for breakfast, they would often have porridge or something similar to oatmeal. But they did leave behind two recipes that everybody likes: boiled chicken dumplings and boiled apple dumplings. So Henry and I are going to make both of them. We're going to start with the boiled apple dumplings. You can. Okay, so we have our 6 apples peeled and cored, and now Henry's going to fill the middle with sugar and some cinnamon. Okay, and I'm just working on making the dough. Just spread a little bit of dust on the countertop. Just got to knead our dough a little bit. Okay, now we have our dough, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to roll it out. Okay, now we're going to cut our dough into approximately saucer size. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up our apple in the dough. Each one is finished. Closed as best we can. And then we need to wrap them up in some cloth fabric to boil them. Up our apples. Okay, there's one.
We're going to throw them into.
So it's been about 40 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and pull out these dumplings and see how they turned out. It's hot. Okay, well, we're on to our supper recipe, and we're going to make some boiled chicken and dumplings. And this, by far, is our family favorite, passed down through generations, and it's really simple. So it's just called Okay, well, it looks like the dumplings are done. So good evening and happy eating.